The following is a composite report, summarized from the accounts of the 8th returning soldiers. Squad reports encountering and subsequently capturing a badly disoriented enemy soldier who was wandering alone in the wilderness near. The apparently lost or abandoned soldier was first apprehended at approximately 2300 hours. The squad had one interpreter, but he claims that the malnourished captive was either speaking an exotic language or else was completely incoherent. The P.O.W., although quite obviously dying of starvation and thirst, reportedly accepted no food or water from his captors. Over the 3 days of its captivity, the entity's physical state continued to deteriorate, yet it showed amazing strength in struggling against being force-fed. On the night of the second day, at about 0100 hours, the entity is thought to have attacked and killed Private that night's watchman. At this point, it is speculated by the squad members that the P.O.W. began to consume Private corpse. This conjecture is supported by the fact that the body of the deceased was discovered with significant portions of its viscera scooped out, and that the P.O.W. did not try to escape, but was rather found covered in human gore and apparently exhausted nearby. Staff Sergeant ordered a summary execution of the P.O.W., and the entity was shot from relative close range by both riflemen. Having been struck by rounds in the chest and neck, the P.O.W. slumped over immediately and was presumed dead. Upon closer inspection by the Staff Sergeant, however, the entity was found to be still alive. The P.O.W., although badly bleeding from its wounds and apparently partially paralyzed by one of the shots, continued to babble and spit wildly from its place on the ground. At this point, general panic began to break out in the squad. 3 of the men became convinced, and 2 remained sure even after debriefing, that the entity was a zombified experiment from the enemy. Corporal retrieved a rosary from his gear and began to pray for the obviously suffering enemy soldier. And it was then noted by the men that the P.O.W. began to spit and vocalize directly at the corporal, while also attempting to drag itself away. The Staff Sergeant claims at this point that his men became unsubordinately wild with fear upon witnessing what they now believe to be a demonic possession. The men unanimously assert, however, that the commanding officer was complicit. The entity was hastily immolated where it lay, using kerosene from the squad supplies. The squad tended the fire until the body was ash, and then scattered the remains. As a result of these actions, assertions of the P.O.W. being either a reanimated corpse or a possessed enemy soldier cannot be investigated further. It may be relevant to note that the squad was permanently disbanded by the platoon leader, Major, with each member being issued an official reprimand and with the dishonorable discharge of Staff Sergeant for his leadership during the encounter. Post-incident investigation of the general site at which the P.O.W. was supposedly burned yielded compelling results. A comb of the surrounding wilderness resulted in the recovery of one of the 2 bullets used to execute the entity, as well as a few teacup-sized pieces of charred human bone. Leaked enemy intelligence reveals that this was not the only case of possession-like behavior among troops stationed near. The details of these other cases, however, have proven thus far unobtainable.